Today on FluTac, we talk about the H&K VP70 9mm pistol, and I'll tell you why this became H&K biggest flop of all time. Stick around because another exciting episode of FluTac Arms System Firearm Training Solutions starts right now. Hello there, gunslingers. Welcome to another exciting episode of FluTac, and I'm your host, the Faceless Gunslinger. Today we review the H&K VP70 9mm pistol. But before we get started, let's make sure we have a clear weapon here. Make sure the weapon's pointed in a safe direction. We're going to release the magazine. We're going to pull back on the slide. Observe the slide. And as you guys can see there in YouTube land, we have ourselves a clear VP70 pistol. So let's talk a little bit about the pistol, why I personally found it pretty attractive and wanted to actually purchase this weapon. So for me, I must admit I am somewhat of a nerd to a degree, but I really came across the VP70 first in a video game called Resident Evil 2, released back in the late 90s. And one of the main characters of the Racoon Police Department was named Leon S. Kennedy, and he carried a version of this weapon called the VP70M, which was a 3-round variant. I just fell in love with the way it looks when it came down to a slide, just a really unique, futuristic look that it had from there. And one day, as a young gamer, I knew I had to get myself the real thing. And here I am in front of you guys here in YouTube land and make that dream a reality. So never get them dreams. So this was the reason why I really wanted to get it. It's been very famous. There's been a couple other movies. Probably the biggest one is going to be Aliens 2, which is used by the Colonial Space Marines. But this is probably where we're going to see the VP70 is going to be at. But you might think, hey, it's been in popular video games. It's been in movies. Why did this thing take off? I'll get to that in a second. Not only that, we're going to have a pretty good shooting montage later on, so make sure you stick around. So first, let's talk a little about it. So the VP70 is a semi-automatic pistol. It fires 9mm round cartridges, and it came in different calibers. Besides 9mm, I believe it also came with 9x21mm in European countries for some reason. 9mm military cartridges are, I believe, illegal in some countries over here in Europe. And even though I think the 9x21 is more powerful, there's more powder in it, regardless, that's different ones you were able to purchase. And when I was looking at this one back 15 years ago, this was something I was considering, but I decided to go to the 9mm version. It's fed by a very interesting double stack magazine, and for a minute it holds a total of 18 rounds with one inside the breech if you want to, for a total of 19. Now VP stands for, my German's not the best, but Volkspistola. 1970 when it went in production, once again made by the very famous firearms company H&K or Heckler and Koch, and it went in production back in the 1970s, and that's where you get the 70 down here for the VP70. Some things that are really unique about this pistol that we'll just talk about first is just going to be really its style. You know, back in the day in the 1970s, where a lot of police departments and a lot of people were still running around with revolvers for self-defense, would have a 6-round cylinder capacity, or even other semi-automos back then, like a 1911, which is America's favorite. This weapon really came to its own because it had an 18-round magazine capacity, which was really unheard of back then for a standard pistol. That actually flushed too, as you guys can see here. On the weapon. So it really was, and I want to say ahead of its time, because there's a lot of flaws I'm about to get into, which I found for shooting it a while, and I really want to make this work because I like the way it looks so much. But That's just a little bit of history about that. Once it was made in Germany, I don't know for sure, but I heard reports that it was designed to be for the Western Germany. If there was ever a chance that it was a bunch of Russians invading or something like that, or just falling over or I guess the Berlin Wall or something like that, that this be able to drop the people to regular civilians. They'll have this and be able to defend themselves and defend their countries in Western Germany. Don't know how true that is. Just something I probably heard there from her. So a couple things that's really interesting about it. So first and foremost, like I said, this was really the predecessor to the Glock safe action pistol. I won't blame you, but a lot of people think that Glock was really the first mass-produced polymer frame pistol, and you'll be wrong. That honor, generally speaking, is going to be entitled to this pistol here, the VP70. Like I said, it's really, really strong polymer. You guys can see here, it's really, really tough. I think back then particularly, they didn't know, they wanted to make sure it was really reliable, but this is probably some of the toughest polymer I felt on a pistol itself. So that's one thing that makes it really unique. If we go up here, I'm not going to shoot myself, but another great thing, hope you guys can see that pretty well on camera, but another unique thing about the VP70 is the sighting system. The sights have a ramp-up sight there, which is kind of weird because it's supposed to have a shadow that acts as your front sight. Now, me as a person who actually shot this pistol quite a lot, not too bad for close combat shots if you need to do those for self-defense, but if you're really trying to be very accurate and particularly engage a particular target, that shadow that you're going to see here and the front sight just covers up so much of the target. It's really, really difficult. So that's one thing right there when it comes down to that's been unique, but not necessarily the best. Another thing that's very interesting with this pistol is it has a fixed barrel. The fixed barrel does not move like most modern pistols that you see, particularly with polymer frame pistols, and it's actually fixed inside the frame itself. Because of that, in this particular design, this is a blowback operated pistol, so you have a lot of pressure that can go up here inside of the breech when it comes down to 9mm. So once again, this is a clear weapon. I'm going to try to see if you guys can look in here. But what makes this very unique is that it has really, really deep lands and grooves or rifling inside the pistol. So, and that was to make sure there wasn't too much pressure built up inside the chamber, potentially causing a catastrophic failure or something of that nature inside of the pistol itself. The problem with that, though, with these really, really deep rifling inside the pistol, is that you are going to lose a little bit of muzzle velocity. Not too much, but it's going to be a little bit lost because there's a lot of gas escaping through those really, really deep riflings inside the pistol itself. Another thing that's really unique for us, particularly American, nothing really wrong with it, is going to be right here. It's going to be the hill release that's on the frame. Once again, very unique. You don't see this very often in most modern pistols, and there's a reason why for that. But it's very, very interesting and very, very cool to be able to have. And this particular design, just if you're a collector or something like that. This trigger itself is going to be a pretty double action only, striker fire pistol, but a double action only type of pistol when it comes down to it. And it's very, very heavy. Once again, this weapon can clear, as you guys already saw, but it's more like a double action only trigger. And the safety itself is a cross bolt style safety. Red is dead, as you guys know. Put it back on black, that means the weapon is safe, and it works very, very well itself. This assembly of the weapon is really simple. All you have to do is you take that lever, and from there you just push back on the slide a little bit, bring it up, and then you got your slide. And here you can see the slide is really, really simple too. And what makes it really unique is that it has the spring, the coil spring actually goes around the barrel, so as you guys can see there, which is pretty awesome. And if you just want to look once again, maybe you can see it better here with the rifling and stuff like that inside the barrel. And this is the top of the magazine itself, inside the pistol. Really simple to disassemble too, as you can see from here. So another thing that's really interesting to this is a civilian version, so it's semi-automatic only, still offer 19 rounds. Even today is still very competitive and even have a higher magazine capacity than standard 9mm modern pistols. But the thing is today is that it does, back in the day in some other places, you can't really find them. for us of regular civilians. But they did offer the M version, which came back my favorite video game, Resident Evil 2. And the M version actually had a attachment for a stock that actually doubled as a holster, believe it or not, which is pretty cool. And this doesn't have the cutouts here, but it will be fit right here with the frame, just right here with the hill, and also, the hill and also the top part of the frame here too as well. And then it gave the capability of the shooter to have a 3-round burst option, which was pretty cool. From it. Never shot one before. The 3-round burst version of the VP70M, but be pretty cool too as well. So that's just a quick down and dirty overview. I'm going to tell you my final thoughts on this, some of the pros and cons to it. But first, before we do that, I want you guys to grab your eyes and grab your ears because it's time to go loud, FluTac style. Now that was exciting. Hope you guys really enjoyed the footage of the VP70, me taking this thing out to go shoot. Once again, fun little pistol, but let's talk about my honest review about this weapon and why it was a disaster pretty much for H&K, in my personal opinion, and assessment as being a firearms guy and also a veteran. So at face value, this weapon, I think, with a couple modifications, has so much potential. Like I said, if you talk about just look and coolness factor, why that's once again why I was chosen for Resident Evil, the video game. It's just off the charts. You know, I think this looks so much better than a standard Glock, and so many different things. There's a lot of good things about. There are some good things about. I won't say a lot. Let me catch myself. But one thing I'll start with the positive. One of the positives that this is a relatively adorable pistol. Like I said earlier, the frame and the polymer. This stuff is thick. This stuff is hard, and it works really. It's really strong. And this pistol might be older than I am actually, and it's pretty awesome to have that quality just be able to stick up so well and just for so long too as well. So that's one of the biggest things. You know, the slide too as well, very strong and durable. Like I said, you can see this itself has actually been working. It's still just going hard for so long, so that is pretty cool. Another thing till to this day, like I said, that I love the 18 round magazine. These are really strong magazine, expensive if you want to look at them, almost $100 sometimes, but these are really good quality magnets, just built freaking tough like a tank. So you have no worry about them being bent or breaking, and they're going to do the job itself. Another good thing about it, it's relatively durable. I have some, you guys saw in the torture test, I was able to put some mud on it and bury it, and was able to kind of get through that. So it is relatively durable too as well. So you ask yourself, well, Faceless Gunslinger, FluTac guy, why was it so big a failure? Well, here's the reason why. I think one of the biggest reasons what anybody would tell you, and trust me, I wanted to make this pistol work. I wanted to be my concealed carry. I wanted to make this work so bad. The biggest problem you're going to have with this pistol is simply, once again, clear weapon. It's the trigger. The trigger is probably anywhere from a good 12 to 15 pounds. I don't know for sure. And it's consistently double action. I don't care how big you are, but when you have to constantly, get the trigger, you're squeezing it, you feel this wall. You can see my hand right there, just shaking because I'm fighting to push that striker back, and then it finally goes off. Imagine doing that 19 times. Or imagine having to deal with that when you're in a close combat situation where, getting rounds on target and follow-ups are really important. That's a really big hindrance. And I think really that's one of the reasons why the VP70 just never really took off, is because it's really strong trigger. I think that's one of the biggest reasons. I would say also too, this is an easy fix, but the hill release for the magazine, not a very good position. If anybody that tries to do an officer, any type of operator or officer or whatever type of drill where you've got a situation where you have to only have one hand, I don't care who you are, this is going to be very difficult to try to manipulate the magazine release and pull the magazines, which are usually stuck in there pretty well too as well. Then that's going to be a hindrance there too. Last but not least, I will also say just the front sight. I showed you guys the front sight before too as well. It's cool, it is really rugged without a doubt, but one of the biggest problems with it too is just it takes up, like I said earlier, it takes up a lot of the target aperture. So those are just some of the pros and cons, I think, of this pistol. HK, if you're watching my little YouTube channel, and if you want to revamp the VP70 with maybe putting a magazine release right here, and also just make it a better, crisper striker fired pistol, trigger squeeze, I'm your guy. I will test that out for free and be able to promote that, even though I have absolutely no sponsors or any type of monetization at the time. And that's okay, because it's really about you guys, our community, and our passion hobby that we have. So with that being said, the VP70, would I use this to protect my family? Would I use this to go out there and to fight a horde of zombies? No. This will be the last pistol in my collection that I probably will want to choose, just for the simple fact that of the stuff I just told you. But if I want to look cool and talk about a really interesting weapon with a little bit of history and have a predecessor of the Glock safe action pistols that took the world by storm, yeah, this is going to be the way to go, baby, without a doubt. Well, guys, once again, thank you so much. Thank you to all my supporters and my friends out there on the Northwest Firearm. Thank you for you too, whoever you are out there watching us right now and talking about the VP70. I just like to know, do you think it's a cool pistol? Do you think that H&K, maybe we can start something here, guys. Do you think that H&K should actually revitalize the VP70 with updated modernization and also with updated mechanics? If you think so, why don't you go ahead and comment below and just let me know. So with that being said, guys, thank you once again. Got some more great content coming from you. And also, I'll take down a Christmas tree. I know it's been a couple weeks, been busy. But in the meantime, make sure you do a couple of things for me. Make sure you shoot straight, make sure you shoot safe, and do not be a victim.